So I just got off the phone with somebody at Neowana by the Sea, which is an elderly living facility, assisted living, and talked with them, making sure that none of their seniors are exposed to danger in regard to the Bob Chisholm Meals site director sexually assaulting me 14 months ago. But I wanted to address the consequences of reading the adult protection report in which he admits to wrestling me and tussling me. He's 6'6". He's a large man, heavy man, to wrestle me and tussle me, which I had read that the Catholic Church systematically tried to configure their sexual assaults as wrestling in a friendly way. So it's like reeks of Catholic sex abuse cover up tactic. But specifically, I wanted to address I'm just like about to maybe eat my lentil soup, but I love being skinny. I have been so skinny in my life before. My dad was very thin, my grandma was very thin, my other grandma was very thin. We've got like a few different genetics going on for like you could hold a little weight or you could be a little bit thin. So I completely lost my appetite when I read that because I think it's kind of typical of abusers to just deny, like, no, I did no such thing, or no, I was never that. So when I saw this huge admission of him saying he tussled me, by which I'm saying he's sexually assaulting, pinning me down against my will and pinning my legs so I can't kick him and rubbing his penis on me through his clothes. This admission of tussling and wrestling by Christopher Guest Duffy, 1970, Grosse Pointe, Michigan, outside Detroit, who worked with the Democrats, who lived in Brussels, Los Angeles, and Arlington. This person who assaulted me admitted this, and I thought, okay, so you've hired a big lawyer. Her name is Celia Howes. She's a Portland attorney. Let's draw up her, it's her law firm is, that's not it. I don't know, Celia Howes. Anyway, she's a Portland attorney. Easy to find on the internet. You've admitted to wrestling and tussling this person. I've let authorities know it was not consensual, it was violent, it was frightening, it was not requested. I've let them know you groped my breast repeatedly. So I had a great talk with what's her name over there and strategies and thinking about how to manage it. But overall, these are Maria Tomasi's art, by the way. She's a really cool artist. Appetite loss. I'm down with it, okay. But like, say for instance, after my 2002 rape, abduction, strangulation, for which my neck probably has never healed either. Not to mention Ben Pickering's neck-breaking attempt a year before, Chris Duffy's pin down, senior Meals on Wheels guy for Sunset Park and Empire Recreation District. I actually got like dangerous levels of anorexia in my mind. I wasn't like 70 pounds and hooked up to life support or 50 pounds or whatever. But in my mind, I was highly disturbed by my inability to eat. So for people that are like, there are no consequences for sexual assault and it's all no big deal, and Clatsop District Attorney Ron Brown is like, this would be too embarrassing for the city, it might include like a sort of apocalyptic destruction of the community center's budget once everybody organized in a class action lawsuit to sue them for exposing them to the danger. Now you're covering up the danger that you've been exposing all the vulnerable people to. And I'm onto that. I can see that. Where's Josh Marquis? I mean, I thought we had... Anyway, I'll figure that out. Maybe he's all the way. He's got one foot in the door, probably. He's stepping out. So we've got this new district attorney. Maybe his forte is not crimes against women. And the fact that Detective Hansen wanted to basically start it undercharging as sex abuse 3 versus attempted rape, that's also problematic. The fact that I couldn't speak to the female detective, which is what I wanted to do. Oh, please don't get me started. Anyway, appetite loss. And so all ye old sexual assaulters out there, sexual harassers, quid pro quoers, oh, I talked to Coast Radio's board. They might want to voice me over to the board meeting on the 26th. Or I could go. But I'll talk to the board of director, like the actual board. And it was all more like dissolving chain of accountability, like Graham Newstrom isn't telling Joan Harmon because that would be too logical to actually have safety and accountability. So I'm going to eat my lentils. I'm going to have a good night. I'm not going to starve myself to death because it's very traumatic to be assaulted by a man who works with seniors and disabilities and is getting away with it. I could react by just starving. That night we went to Angelina's. That was like, yay for Angelina's, vegan cheese pizza. Woohoo, oh, your attempt to rape is going to get away with it. But is he really? Is he really, really? His attorney isn't getting back to me yet. Maybe she's either going to delay, blow off, which is typical legal strategy, or maybe actually has to contact him and ask if she has permission to engage in any alternative dispute resolution. Oh, and then good old Trump was like, why didn't she contact the FBI 36 years ago about this like 15-year-old Brett Kavanaugh victim? I'm thinking like, good point. So you worked in Arlington, so for what? Intelligence, military, research, contracting, any number of things, office work? Well, how about you need a record? So I followed the president's brilliant insanity and realized, yeah, I guess the whole fact that local law enforcement agencies can't do their job is why the FBI was ever invented. So it wouldn't hurt to like throw this in there, since we got like kind of like presidential orders that all sexual assaults now have to be reported to the FBI. And the FBI, I'm like, are you getting slammed, or is anybody listening? Or is that really what we're supposed to do? Because we're always not going to be taken seriously, right? By cops, by district attorneys, by local authorities, by city councils. So, okay. And, oh, I made my EEOC complaint. I've already reported to Oregon DOJ. I reported to federal DOJ on ADA. I reported to Northwest Housing. I reported to Coast Radio. They've done nothing. I'm so overly reported that it almost proves the larger point that these systems are used to protecting abusers. And when we can have a little justice, a little house of justice in this world, then we can move forward with having a good perspective. But until then, I'm even inspired by my Jewish culture or Israeli culture class. The Holocaust survivors had sexual assault stories to tell too, that weren't uncovered till 50 years down the line or something. And that even, say, the stigma of being sexually assaulted by a German working for the deranged Third Reich was like humiliating, embarrassing. But being sexually assaulted also by a Jewish man who's being oppressed by said Third Reich is terribly embarrassing. And when oppressed women protect oppressed men who are oppressing them, we are a part of the problem. We can't, like, oh, Mona Eltawe, I love this Egyptian woman blogger, like crusader of freedom in the Arab Spring. She's a Leo, I found out, but she's lecturing women that you can't embrace white supremacy. You can't take this. I think what is very important too is that if we can finally push his violent, callous attitude away from the vulnerable people, we can make a space for a community. He can go repent. He's not going to serve time, right? He's going to serve internet infamy. In Mary Ang's Court of Justice, you've been sentenced to internet infamy with your herpes, your aggravated assault, your frauduleurism. The adult protection lady was like, what? Because I have, like, whatever, researched the old French policing 1850s term for, frauduleurism is this concept of, like, why does a man want to rub his penis through his clothes on a non-consenting woman? Somehow, if consensual sex is not available, that is something some men do. And it's been considered criminal since the 1850s, but just for some reason is not here in Clatsop County. Bon appetit.